Hello and welcome to Family Matters. Thank you so much for joining us. On this show, we discuss various issues that affect human relations. And to help me with this, as usual, I have Liz and Mike. Welcome. Today, we're discussing how to manage anger in families. Liz, what's the difference between anger and conflict?
Anger is a strong emotion that one feels when somebody has done something that they perceive it's hateful and it's painful for them, or when they feel unfairly treated. Conflict are differences that come between personalities and all those sort of things that you may want to think of.
Mike, why is it important for us to discuss this for families?
It's important to discuss this because anger is something that we live with, and family members offend one another and they express their unhappiness through the anger emotion. As Liz is saying, it's part of family life.
Right. And in family life, what would evoke or make someone to get angry, to say, you know what, I'm very angry today? What causes that?
Maybe before I answer that, I also want to say what makes anger, what makes people get angry. There are a lot of reasons why people become angry. One of the reasons is that when someone is frustrated, when there is frustration, when you want to achieve something and someone blocks you, you get frustrated. And the anger we are talking about here, when it is something that we are now saying it needs to be managed, it's not like the day-to-day expression that people go through when someone steps on their feet, on their toe. This is when it has now become habitual, that without you realizing, you just throw outbursts. So at that moment, we then say someone has challenges of anger. And anger can also be a learned behavior, where you learn it from the family. If you are coming from a background where mom and dad or your siblings express themselves in a rough, crude manner, you learn that behavior and it becomes part of you. Without you realizing it, you are also doing the same to your friends, to your other people that you interact with. However, there is also a possibility that anger can be genetical. It can be a genetical problem, even though there is not really how people don't know really how that happens. But when you look at psychiatric illnesses, some of them are inclined to anger. For example, brain injury. When someone has a brain injury, they tend to express themselves by using anger. When also some people suffer through strokes, it can also end up being challenges of expressing themselves with anger. There's something that we call bipolar disorders.
Right.
This is when someone is expressing themselves using anger. I would want to separate that. When I'm talking about bipolar, they manifest themselves in two ways.
Okay.
What is called bipolar 1 or manic disorder.
Right.
This is when someone feels so irritable. They are people who express themselves through aggression, excessive aggression. There are people whose behavior can become very destructive.
Yes.
There's a lot of moods that are involved.
Yeah.
And then there's the other part, which is bipolar 2, which is called hypomanic. This is when a person, the anger is a bit different from the manic one. They may suffer irritability, and it's a little bit manageable. They are able to do their day-to-day functions without much distraction.
Yes.
But the manic one, which we really are highly concerned with, is something that then becomes very destructive, and it can lead to a lot of other challenges that we are going to discuss about.
I've never realized how complex anger is, actually. Mike?
Yes. I also would like to say maybe bring it back to day-to-day life. Anger can also be just an expression of unhappiness.
Right.
It's just to say, I may not be having some mental health challenges, but something happens and I want to register that I'm not happy with this. So I may not put it or express it at the level of bipolar, but maybe just a common expression of saying, I'm not happy with that. Okay, that can be anger too.
While you're on that, is there a difference between being angry and being upset? Because I can say I'm very upset right now. and I'm angry. What's the difference between that?
I think that's what we need to clarify.
Yes.
The day-to-day anger that's part of being upset.
Yeah.
When we are talking of managing anger here, we
Yes.
are talking of a situation that is now becoming a hindrance of proper functioning, where some other people are no longer going to be in your line of thoughts because they resent you because of this anger outburst that you are now having.
Yeah.
So upset, we all go through upset. We all get angry at some point, but it is the way how we then manifest it and how we then express that which differs from person to person. Otherwise, we may sit here and tell ourselves that, oh, anger is a terrible thing.
Yes.
It becomes terrible when it becomes a situation you cannot function without having to be very, very angry.
Right.
Yes.
Now, coming back to families, what are some situations that can cause anger outbursts, to say, in families? Liz, Mike?
Yeah, if I cannot get my way, I want to control things. I want my way. I want to get what I want. And if I'm not getting it, we get to the point where she's talking about being upset, and I express my emotion as being upset and being angry because I can't get my way.
Right, Liz?
I think anger can come when you think or when you perceive that someone has hurt you. And maybe if you try to reason with these people, they tend not to realize that they are causing pain on you, and you are bound to express outbursts and anger to really try to show that, guys, I am not happy. And people express themselves using anger.
Yes.
But let me also say, having said that, we need to be able to look at, is all anger destructive? That is what we are saying there, that anger sometimes may not be destructive. It may be an expression of showing how we are hurting. But when it becomes violent, when you begin to show your anger by expressions that hurt others or that cause other people pain, it then becomes a challenge.
Okay, Micah, the other situations that you see or have witnessed or have seen that can invoke anger in families?
Yes, I want to look at a situation where anger can be a product of another emotion.
Right.
Like you can move from fear to anger. The situation may be like your husband delays to come home, and now you're afraid maybe he's involved in a car accident. Or maybe something terrible happens and we are praying, Lord, be with my husband and what have you, and so forth. You get the point. So the husband comes home and is very late, and the wife wants to simply find out exactly where have you been. So you move from being afraid to now expressing your anger because there was a threat. It's a response. Sometimes anger is a response that is coming from a situation that threatens me.
What you're saying actually is correct, because I've seen with parents who've got small children, if they're in a big crowd and the child maybe wanders off and gets lost,
Yes.
the parent goes from being fearful, where is my child?
Exactly.
Then when the child is brought down, it goes to anger. Where have you been?
Yes.
You know, so I've
Yes.
seen that.
So they're saying basically on that point, that kind of anger is manifested by a person who is now reacting in a very safe situation.
Yes.
What they were afraid of did not happen.
So now
things are now safe. Now that they are safe, then they have an opportunity now to register that I'm not happy with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
Anger can also be an expression for some people that I don't like this thing. For example, lying.
Yes.
If you are lying to me and then I discover that you have been lying, it makes me feel very angry that why is it that you can't speak the truth? And when I express myself and you take it for granted, it can also make me feel like you are even looking at me as if I'm a fool when I'm telling you that I don't like lying. Because to you, lying may be habitual. You may not see that it is causing pain on me. And when I express it, you even joke about it when I'm serious. And it causes someone to have anger responses.
Yes. Right?
Yes. And again, people don't want to lose self-esteem.
Right.
They don't want to lose their ego. So when they feel like their ego is being attacked, they want to protect it. Then they'll put an angry face so as to threaten you to say, please, it's like when a baboon meets a a leopard. Its survival technique is it will open its mouth and the teeth are out,
Yes.
and it's really throwing dust and everything else to simply say, I want to survive and I'll protect myself, whichever the way may be. So sometimes we use anger to protect our ego.
Yes.
When we are blamed, when we are condemned, sometimes we want to feel like, no, you can't do that to me.
Right. Liz?
Like I've expressed, that anger can also be a cause. It can be caused or initiated because of some health issues. For example, if a spouse has been cheating and then he contracts HIV and then he comes to me as if all is well, then infects me with HIV. When I discover that I've been so faithful in this relationship and yet this guy has been cheating on me, I'm bound to be very angry.
Yes.
And it also leads me to look upon myself with so many questions as to, but why has this happened? I'll tell you that some anger is a question of not understanding why things are happening the way they are.
Yes.
Especially an example that I gave about the brain damage. When someone has been functioning very well,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden your life is shortchanged, you discover that this person feels like they want to express themselves and people don't fully understand them.
Yeah.
That limitation to coordinate, to speak the way they used to do, to express themselves the way they used to do, it causes a lot of frustration that then exhibits itself in terms of anger and outbursts. And this will be because of some health challenges one person is going through.
Right.
Yeah. I just want to bring in another type of anger.
Right.
This is like, it's a tricky situation.
Yes.
It presents itself like anger, and it has all manifestations of anger.
Yes.
But it is anger that is used to hide another emotion.
Okay.
Like, for instance, I gave an example of the guy who comes home very late and the wife was afraid and stuff like that. And the wife simply says, hi, Mike, and this time. And the guy simply starts blowing, you don't talk to me like that.
Yes.
And you think I'm another. Why should you get the point? The guy is feeling guilty.
Yeah.
But he does not want the guilt emotion to come out. So what do? You cover it up by acting like you are very angry. Now you don't want to be asked questions.
Yes.
You don't. But the bottom line is, man, you are guilty.
Yeah. But
Your
you blow out
anger-
so that you can try and hide the real issue.
You're hiding issue. You don't want the issue. So for you not to be asked the questions or
Yeah.
to account for where you are coming from,
Yeah.
you must act like you are very angry.
Liz, any thoughts on that?
I'm actually laughing because basically what it is you don't want this issue discussed.
Yes.
You don't want to be questioned. So you are covering
Exactly.
yourself.
Yeah.
You are putting in barricades
Yeah.
of discussion so that no one approaches you to
Yeah.
speak. You are actually inflicting fear
Yeah.
so that people are afraid of your shouts and everything.
Yes.
Instead of you allowing people to speak out that they are not happy with what is going on, you inflict fear. And then when the other person experiences that, they actually may be so terrified because of your anger, and they will tell you that, you know what, we are not happy about the way you present yourself.
Oh, wow. I
Yes.
think let's go to a break now. When we come back, we'll discuss how anger manifests itself or how people express anger.
Yeah.
Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Family Matters. If you've just joined us, we're discussing how to manage anger in families. Liz, if we can just talk about the process of getting angry, how do you arrive at a point to saying, okay, now I am angry or this person is angry?
You know what, Sunny, it's very, very important that we discuss this because at many times we don't realize what's taking place when there is anger.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is there is a process which starts by a specific event
Okay.
What is it that has taken place? This event, if it is not properly managed, it will then lead to the interpretation of the event. Why did this event happen? Why did things happen this way? The way I interpret the event can then finally lead me to the response. That can be an anger response, reacting to what the process, reacting to the event, the way I've interpreted it, and the way I will respond.
Yes.
So this is the process that anger takes.
That takes, Mike?
So basically, what makes people angry, sometimes it's not the event itself, but the interpretation attached to the event.
Yeah.
You get them. So you have this guy at the traffic lights, and this is as you're driving on the road, and you get to the traffic lights, and the guy is blocking everybody out. He's blocking, and all traffic comes to a standstill. Some people may cry. Some people may just read their papers. So it depends how you are interpreting that situation.
Yes.
And that will evoke a response.
Right. While we're on that, then how does one show anger, or how does anger manifest itself, or the types of anger, to put it that way? Liz?
Anger can manifest itself through criticism.
Okay.
This is how it can be used. You find someone just in everything they are criticizing. They don't see anything good. All they know in their mouth and what they do is to tell you that, gosh, how come you do things that way? They are ever looking at the little and the big mistakes that you do. And this is a person who is anger in him. He cannot see anything good. They are only seeing the bad that you do. And they want you to feel bad, just like they are feeling bad.
Yes, like
This type of expression where it picks the negative expression, negative criticism, the person is not looking for a solution. They are not saying, now that this is what you have done to me, so let us solve the problem. No, they want to attack your ego. They want you to feel bad. They want you to feel stupid, feel foolish, for as long as this person feels good when they can run all over you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Liz?
I'm also saying there is another type of use of anger where some people look at you and then they want you to control you. This is what is called controlling anger, where they exert their own thoughts on someone and they want this person to do as they want, to act as they want. It's a way of wanting to be able to control other people. And as the other people are controlled, they feel bad, they feel angry about this person controlling their lives.
You know, there's one aspect of anger that I think we need to discuss. It's more common, I think, with females, the silent treatment. When I'm angry, I won't necessarily throw tantrums, I won't shout, I won't criticize, I keep quiet.
Yeah.
What can you say about that?
Before we come to that one, Sunny, I just want to make a follow-up on what Liz has just been telling us about controlling anger.
Right.
This one is really an abuse. Yeah. It's an abuse of power, of authority, and the people in the process feel abused because they are then forced to do as this person wants. They are really terrorized in this family.
Right.
Now we can come back to
silent treatment, the one that affects men.
Yeah. You know, I think this is one area where it may not necessarily affect men only.
Yeah.
It may also affect
other family,
even yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you don't fully express yourself and you are harboring all this pain in you. Because remember, anger is an expression of the deep pain that you are going through. Yes. And when you don't express that pain properly and you give a silent treatment, you may think you are hurting the other person. But at the end of the day, the fluids that the body discharges that come with anger are not hurting the other person. They're actually hurting you as an individual carrying them. And with silent treatment, you are causing discord in the whole family. It distracts the joy of the family because people don't know why you're silent.
Yeah.
You need to be able to express yourself, but we are not saying express it in an angry way. Find ways rather than silent treatment.
Yeah. So, Mike, do you have anything to say about that issue?
I think they are emotional sisters, anger and hate. It's more or less one and the same thing. It's anger when I am giving it out to the other person. And if I don't give out that anger, take it out of my body and let it go, it will be self-directed. When it is self-directed, then it becomes hate. This is where Liz is saying it then begins to damage me because the anger must be dealt with. So if it is not going out, it will target myself.
Right. And like I've said now, when there's a problem, solution. So we found that there's a problem of anger sometimes in families. How do we then manage this anger productively? The keyword here being productively. Liz.
I want to say there is one type which is crucial that we also need to talk about, which helps us to manage anger productively.
Okay.
And this is the reporting type of anger, where it is anger that is expressed, where you look at it from yourself. You are the one who is hurting, who wants to be understood. So for that to happen, you need to be able to report it in a manner that is not judgmental, that is not physically inclined, to be open with what is happening. So reporting anger gives you the ability or the chance to express to the family members what you are going through.
Yes. Mike, how else can we manage anger in families productively?
Yeah. Maybe just to continue with the reporting anger, this is where you use the I message.
Yes.
The I message is you are managing your emotion rationally. It is still within your control. You want to say I'm not happy, and you are putting it in a way that respects other people, and that makes you also feel good that at least you are letting it go.
Yes.
The I message here says, this is how I am feeling about what you are doing. And you are very clear, the problem is with you. You are feeling this way. You may not be feeling like that way, but I feel like this when you do like this. And then at the end of the day, the I message or the reporting approach ends up with a solution. This person is now, this is the kind of anger that provides a solution. I feel bad when you come home late. And Steve, I feel that we need to respect our time. So it then provides, you are providing an emotion and a solution at the same time.
Yes.
I think the other most important thing is to be able to know yourself. If you listen, I'm keeping on saying you need to know yourself. Why? Because you are able to control yourself. So as a person, you need to know triggers that can make you be angry. What is it that makes you go to the edges? And I'm saying anger that we are talking about here is when you find that you get upset with just things that are not supposed to really, under normal circumstances, upset you. So when you find that this is what you are going through, be in a position to know what triggers me to reach those ends, so that you can be able to pull out. If it is a conversation, you excuse yourself with dignity to say, can I pull out, or run away from you having to be pushed to the wall and end up outbursting your anger.
Actually, talking about pushing to the wall, I'm a kind of person who I'll let you push me to the wall continuously, quiet, and I won't say anything. But then I get to a point where I say, you know what, I think now you've pushed me.
Enough is
far
enough.
And then there I bring out everything else that I have been keeping. What can you say about that?
I think there's a danger, Sanito, doing that. Because you may not have the time to actually then express yourself fully. That's why today we have people who end up committing suicide.
Right.
Because they've been pushed to the wall and they don't find anyone to help them. Because of anger, they express it in a manner that then hurts themselves. Like I was talking about the maniac anger issues, where someone ends up getting depressed because of failing to express themselves. And they think the only way out when I'm this hopeless is to go and hang myself.
Yes.
So we need to avoid building in anger, building in issues. We need to talk about them. Even though you may not pick everything that happens to you, but try and talk about issues that pertain to what's happening in your life and what's hurting you.
Yeah, Mike, in talking about keeping backlog, I mean, we see it in many families. I know with spouses where, last time, Mike, you did this, I kept quiet. Then last month you did this, now you're repeating the same thing. What can we say to address this kind of situation? Because it does happen when somebody is angry, then they express it so much that you don't deal with the issue now, but we're dealing with so many other issues.
Yes. I think when we keep bottling anger inside us,
yes,
we are creating pressure inside. Anger then operates like a pressure pot. In some cases, this is called ventilating anger. It keeps piling, and pressure is building. At one stage, it explodes and is disaster for the whole family. This is why in the Bible, if you notice, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and 27 says, let us resolve our anger quickly before the devil gets an opportunity or a window to get into the relationship. Anger that is not processed builds up, and when time to explode comes, nobody will be able to control things. This is the kind of anger that may even lead to murder.
Of course. What other ways can we solve or manage anger productively in families, Liz?
I think the other way is to be able to understand that the situation that you are in, you are not the only one.
Right.
You need to seek help. The moment you hear some people or your friends telling you that I think you have anger issues, you need to manage your anger. Don't think that these people have anything against you. They're helping you. Take it serious and seek help.
I also want to think that as a family, let's keep the communication channels open where people are allowed to express anger before it gets very hot.
Right.
Where issues are addressed before they become volatile. I advocate that let the communication channels remain open, and this will manage the pressure that may then result into volatile.
Liz, your final words?
My final words are, the moment you realize that you outburst on little issues every now and again, and it becomes a habit, you should be able to know that you are treading on the danger of anger challenges.
Yes.
And that can be a pointer, an indicator to you to say, I need to find help before it goes out of hand.
Mike, final words in 5 seconds?
God also gets angry. But when God gets angry, it's because he wants to restore things.
Yes.
Let's use anger to restore families, to restore relationships, than to destroy relationships.
Thank you so much, Liz and Mike, for sharing, because this is something that's real in families. People struggle with anger, and I hope that the tips that you've shared can help them. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you've learned 1 or 2 things to help you with managing anger in families. Until next time, God bless.